Here's a segment from a recent Gun Talk radio episode. You can listen to all the Gun Talk radio podcasts however you tune in, or check out guntalk.com for more. Back with you, 866-TALK-GUN. Patrick's with us on line 3 out of Fort Smith, Arkansas. Patrick, you got a bone to pick. You don't agree with me on the red dots. Why not?
Well, I had an experience years ago. I bought a pistol that has the rail below the frame in front of the trigger,
okay,
where you could mount lights, laser sights, that kind of thing. And I just happened to have a laser sight on another firearm.
Okay.
So I thought this would be cool to put on this new pistol. So I took it off the other gun, mounted it on my pistol, really liked the look of it, and decided I had to run this out to the range right away and get this thing sighted in so I could be able to use it.
Mm-hmm.
So I packed up all my shooting gear, loaded the truck, and headed out to the range. Got out there, got a good shooting position on a bench, had a target out at 40 meters, and got myself positioned and flipped on the switch to the laser light, and the batteries were dead.
Had you put new batteries in?
And it suddenly occurred to me, if I used any kind of a battery-powered optic whatsoever,
mm-hmm,
the time I might need it the most, especially if it's a self-defense issue, I don't need a battery going out on me.
I understand that. that thinking.
And, I don't have that problem with my iron sights. They work every time.
Yes, they do, don't they? It's one of the reasons that a lot of the people who are going to red dot sights on their carry pistols are also going to suppressor height iron sights. That way you have both. You have the red dot and you have the iron sights. If something happened in the red dot, you couldn't find it, it wasn't working, whatever, you still have your irons and you can look right through the red dot and still use your iron sights, which is kind of a belt and suspenders thing. But I want to spin back for a second. First of all, this was some years ago, and you're talking about laser, not a red dot sight, which uses batteries up faster. The batteries on a red dot sight last for roughly 10,000 hours. Okay. You could leave it on for 5 years, and it's not going to run the battery down.
That also is dependent upon ambient temperature. If the battery is subjected to cold weather, it will tend to run down faster. No
doubt. Here's the way I approach that. I consider them to be like my smoke detector batteries. Replace them once a year, even though they're not dead. Just replace them once a year. That's not going to be an issue. Temperature is not going to make it run down in less than a year with these. They're just not. But the other thing is, I'm not trying to convince you to do this. I'm just telling you that.
I understand. I just wanted to throw it out there that anything that relies on a battery, even my smoke detector that I have
mm-hmm.
in my home, I sometimes forget to change the batteries in that thing.
Right.
I've reached a stage in my life where I tend to be forgetful.
Tell me about
it. I just don't want to be in a situation where my life depends on an apparatus that is battery powered.
I get it completely, and it is one of the reasons that I think that if you're going to go to red dot sight on your carry gun, going to suppressor height sights, iron sights, is probably a good idea. Because then you can always go to those if, for whatever reason, the dot's not working, battery broken, electronics, something, Obviously, now, the Crimson Trace, both on their lasers and on their red dot sights, they do a batteries for life, free for life. So once a year, they send you a fresh set of batteries for your units forever. So that's a pretty good deal as well. But back to your point, I get it. And if you say, look, I just don't want to trust my life to a battery, I cannot tell you how many times I have said that. Now, I've kind of gotten past that as I've gotten more experience with them, and I've frankly built a trust level with them. They're just so darn rugged. And, Special Forces guys are using them. SWAT guys are using them. This is what the people who are betting their lives on them all the time are using. And so you go, okay, they have achieved a level of comfort or confidence with them. But you know what? You're right. Iron sights, unless you knock them off the gun, they're probably going to be there for you. And so there's nothing wrong with that. I don't have a problem with that at all. So it's a good point. I appreciate you bringing it up. Thank you, sir. Yeah. In fact, I was very early on in the whole laser deal. That was my deal. I don't want to trust anything that runs off of batteries because batteries run out. Well, that's all true. And that's why with lasers, you still have your iron sights. And that's why I think with the red dot, and people are going to go, well, that's going to be extra cost. Yep, it is. The reality is most people who put red dots on their guns don't put suppressor height sights on their guns. And the red dot sights just keep working. Now, let me say something here. I'm trying to figure out how to say this and not sound mean. There's some crap out there. Oh, did I sound mean? Sorry about that. There's some really cheap junk being made. And if you get yourself a lovely $49 red dot sight, you can expect it to work just like a $49 red dot sight, which means it's probably not going to work for long. Think about this, sticking a red dot sight, a small electronic device on top of a slide on a pistol, that thing is going back and forth. Man, that's tough. Imagine being the person who has to design the electronics and the batteries and the systems that will last in that environment. And that's one of the reasons you buy, at least in my thought process, I want to buy brands that I know. I don't want to have to say, who are these guys who are making this thing, right? I mean, I want to know who they are. I want a track record, because frankly, like Patrick said, you're betting your life on this thing. I want to know that this is a company who they care. They're going to make good stuff. So, and it's going to cost you some money. It just is. Don't be the person who says, I want the cheaper parachute. Because that's what your carry gun is. It is a parachute. It's a life-saving device. If you're not willing to spend the money to get a good one, you might not want to get one at all. Just say it. $49, you're probably not going to get a good product. My thoughts on it.